Do you like movies, comic books, science fiction, and more? Then you've come to the right place. This is the Rebel Radio Podcast. You can find us at therebelradiopodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and join our Patreon for just $2 a month where you get exclusive episodes. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Rebel Radio Podcast for the second start tonight. This is Mark.
This is Matt.
This is Long, the monk of the 37th Chamber of Shaolin.
The long chamber.
Yes.
The long big dong
sounded
chamber.
Way wrong. I'm not even going to repeat that. But so yeah, I said the second start. We just ran into some technical difficulties. Matt, try not to go offline again, please.
Yeah.
It's
It
bad.
was
Bad
friggin'
enough
weird.
that you
Not sure.
fall asleep.
Oh, I'm good. I've had plenty of espresso, and yeah, I'm looking. My Wi-Fi is looking strong, so I'm faithful. Or I've got a lot of faith in the old AT&T Wi-Fi.
Just no jerking off on your keyboard, and it'll keep that from happening. So.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man,
Maybe I gotta clear my cookies.
Long's in his full monk outfit, man. So I've got to watch my language, or it might be karma in me.
I'm not ordained. It doesn't matter.
So I'm kind of in a I'm not in a bad mood. I'm just kind of in a mood to unleash some possible language today. I don't know why.
Yeah, no filter.
Just seeing me gives you that calming effect.
Not that this movie has a reason to cuss or anything, the movie we're covering today, but sometimes you just have to let off some language and steam. I got injured at work yesterday, so I think that kind of had me in a somewhat stressful mood. Getting slapped in the face with a big old thing of baling wire will do that. So I should say punched in the face. That's what it literally felt like. It's like, ow. I highly recommend to avoid that at work if possible. And but yeah,
I would probably not want to get hit in the face.
So with this restart of tonight's show, before we get too far into the show, I want to mention to our patrons, there's only a few of you, but we value those few that we have. We promise there will be a March episode coming very soon, but I hope you can forgive us. Due to COVID and snowstorms and shit happening, we were not able to get out a February episode, but we will have one coming soon. We're going to cover Johnny Mnemonic for this month of March, and it should be to you soon. And if you want a refund on your Patreon, well, tough shit. I mean, I'm just being honest there. It helps us pay for our server, and so it's much appreciated. And so we do appreciate it. With our server is coming up soon, so it'll cover the server for the year of 2021. So we do appreciate it. But how you guys been? Long seems to be in a very good place of zen and happiness right now. So
very balanced.
He's very balanced, I mean, and then later on he'll be threatening to kill me, but that's okay. So I guess that's the balance: peace one moment, death the next. Yeah. See, he's
beat you with my back scratcher.
Oh.
My back scratcher of Shaolin.
Back scratcher of Shaolin.
I have a scalp. I have a scalp scraper somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my back scraper. Kids probably got a hold of it. I mean, well, let's be real. Most of it, we scratch our nuts with it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Crazy. Do not know. What do you talk about?
But other than that, man, I mean, a week ago we were recovering from the great snowstorm of 2021. We hadn't recorded in a couple weeks, and now we're back in shorts and t-shirts and 75-degree weather with a little bit of humidity and cool mornings. And it's only in Texas, I guess. We can have such bizarre weather.
Yeah.
And, I had to run
For
the
real.
AC the other day. It got so warm. I'm like, what the hell? But that's enough chit chat, I guess. It's kind of late, man. It's as late as we've recorded in a while. But let's get into today's show. Um, Download this, tell you what we watched, streamed, checked out this week. I was a bit of a slacker this week, so I'll let whoever wants to go first.
Well, I spent most of my week compiling equipment for my aquarium, and that left me no time at all to do anything other than do my dailies on Animal Crossing. Which reminds me, I need to do tonight before I sleep my dailies in Animal Crossing on the Switch, and that's about it.
Nerd.
Matt, go ahead. I'm wearing my monk outfit, and you better be happy that I can't say anything back to you so harshly. Even though I'm not ordained, I can't. I feel like I can't do too much vulgarity in this outfit. So I'll have to. I'll have to use my prayer beads and meditate on what I'll say.
You hear that? You hear that, Matt? I can say whatever I want to DeLong tonight. Got him by
and he has to resist.
Earlier today in chat, Mark thought that I might get irate if he said anything about not liking, or that's not liking, but Korean barbecue is not his thing. And it's like, oh well, yeah. But when he's talked shit about Bennigan's, that's when I was like, what did he say about Bennigan's?
You know what's funny? It's you know what's funny about that is I was making fun of Bennigan's, and then today's Wyatt's birthday, and he wanted to. I took him to eat, and he wanted to go to Chili's of all places. It came out of blue, so I'm sort of laughing, like I'm making fun of Log about going to Bennigan's. I'm going to Chili's, which is just basically like another version of Bennigan's in some ways, and
just a less Irish version.
Was terrible tonight. The service was god awful tonight, but the food was good, and he wanted to go there because of some blue drink they sell for kids, and that's how Wyatt is. He's sharp and he remembers stuff, and I probably haven't eaten Chili's in 2 years, but that's where he wanted to go, so that's where I took him for his birthday, and I just was a little upset with the service. We literally got there at 5:45. We left there at 7:25. It should not take 2 hours. It should take almost 2 hours to eat Chili's.
Wow.
Why? Was it just the cook was slow?
She said the kitchen was backed up. Okay, I can accept that. But our drink stayed empty almost the whole time. Wyatt had a nosebleed, and she forgot to bring me more napkins, so the poor kid's nose is bleeding. Because Wyatt gets those sometimes when the air dries out. And then I asked her for more napkins and ketchup and all this. She kept not coming back. Then I need a take-home box forever. And then I'm looking over there, and there's some other table. It must have been her friends, and she kept talking to them. And so needless to say, she did not get tipped.
Ooh.
I don't care. I don't play that game. They only make $2.31 an hour. You don't give me good service, you're not getting tipped. It's that simple.
Yeah. When it's that bad, like you said, one thing, if the kitchen's backed up, like, hey, I'm not going to hold that against you as long as you're coming in and doing all that you can do, for the most part.
Food was hot. It was good when it came out. Yeah. So I get it. I'm not sure what any of that had to do with download this. I don't even know how we got to that subject. Oh yeah, because you were talking.
Because there's games at the table at Chili's. Yeah. Long since I guess I will try.
One accident.
Oh yeah. There's like a couple free ones, but then like all the cool ones you have to pay like $5 for or something. It's like no. So I will make up for the lack of download this. I watched like almost the whole third season of Cobra Kai these past 2 days. I had only seen the first episode and had meant to finish it, and finally sat down. Me and the wife knocked out all the episodes, and I really liked it. I felt like there was a lot of a return to what made the first season very successful, and kind of stuck to its nostalgia roots, especially when they went back to Japan. And that was just awesome, learning just another branch of Miyagi-Do karate. Knowing that even though people are gone, their voices can be heard if you listen hard enough. when you're in your most desperate, stances. And, I feel like that's something that can kind of resonate with everybody. So some really cool stuff there. The fight at the last episode wasn't as teenish or childish as the ending fight in season 2. So that was great. I felt like it was, much more enjoyable. Yeah, there was a little bit of that in there for sure.
It was repetitive too as well.
Yeah, and there's like
we just had a big fight at the end of season 2, and they basically okay, let's have a big fight at the end of season 3 as well. That's my only thing with it.
And I had a little bit of your beef. I know you've mentioned this before. Is that why does Johnny have to be dumb like all the time? Yes. It's like he's dumb on the first episode, but that's not good enough. They're in the council meeting and he's like, yeah, this is what a swirly is. It's actually pretty funny. And I'm like, shut up, dude. You're supposed to be growing as a person, you're not supposed to stay the same. It's like he 2 steps forward and 5 steps back with him sometimes. But overall, it's good. I think it's the second best season out of them all. It's definitely better than 2.
Chosen is fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Chosen is fantastic. I want to marry Peyton List because she's hot.
Yes,
but yeah, I did think Ralph Macchio did better this season. His acting and stuff wasn't quite as bad as it was first 2. I think he did a little bit better job.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I
agree with that.
Yeah.
One.
And then what's the point in them having a son? He just shows up to make a joke, then he disappears again. Like the son is completely forgotten in the whole show.
Whose son?
It's like why Daniel's son. It's like why is he even there? The little brother. It's like the little brother just shows up, makes a joke, and he disappears again.
Oh, yeah. Okay, him.
Exactly my point. So you don't remember the character. He's just like, why is he even
there?
there?
I only remember the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the daughter's the only important person. But that and the wife had been wanting to watch the Rocky movies, and last week we watched Creed 1 and 2, and then we got all the way up to Rocky 2. We worked our way kind of around in a weird way. So this week we watched Rocky 3, Rocky 4, and I had to watch Rocky 5. It's okay. It is the worst Rocky. The workout montage is the worst. The fight's not bad, but it's definitely not as like cool as the other Rocky fights. There's some cool moments in there, but ultimately, they tried to them trying to get back to the same scene as Rocky 1 and 2 was the downfall of that movie. Just tried too hard, making him broke and crap. But the Don King wannabe was funny. She did like that. So now we've got to watch Rocky Balboa, and then we'll be done with all the Rocky movies. She'll see in all of them. And then I attempted to watch All Out Monsters Attack, which I watched like the first half, and unfortunately I was tired, and I kept going in and out of like the last part of it, and I rewatched it. But it's definitely a different take on the Godzilla. You have less of a science fiction type of theme, and you go into this fantasy type of feel in the movie. Mothra looks great. I think King Ghidorah looks a little plasticky, but King Ghidorah's got some cool special effects moments in there, and the explosions are just freaking awesome, man. Oh. They're very impactful. Yeah. Just the atomic breath. Godzilla is the vengeful Godzilla again, just destroying the shit out of everything. What do you think of his? What do you think of his? What do you think of his design? Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me. I mean, it was a little vicious, but it also kind of reminded me of the old school stuff because he did look a little campy, but he was being very vengeful. But that's the that's that director. That director just had a different vision for Godzilla, and he had been wanting to express it for a while. And I think he definitely made a really good film. It's an entertaining film. The human storyline, there's not much to it really. She's a reporter, and then she has a fight with her dad, and it's kind of what I gathered. But the monster fights are badass. That's one. I mean, soldiers getting blown to hell. I mean, it's great. Yeah. And then I'm trying to think if I watched any. Oh, you know what? We watched Sleepy Hollow, and we watched Demolition Man today. So definitely got a variety of stuff watched this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, did you see anything?
Not
and
much.
WandaVision.
I'm finding in this COVID era, I'm finding like the new stuff that is out there just doesn't. I don't find a whole lot real interesting. The stuff I want to see we haven't gotten yet. And and I find myself flipping through Netflix and Amazon Prime. I'm just like, but so I didn't really watch much this week. But I did buy a really cool book from Amazon. I've been eyeing it for a while. As everyone knows, back in the 80s, He-Man figures came with mini comics. Some were done by DC until Mattel kind of took them over there on their own. And Dark Horse put out a compilation with like all the mini comics. And man, this book is massive. It's like fucking Bible thick. It's a $40 book. Amazon dropped it to $18 the other day, so I grabbed it immediately. And it is so cool. It's got the old school ribbon bookmark inside it, so you can keep your track. It's got all the old He-Man comics reprinted in it. I mean, it's a cool book for $18. It was well worth the purchase. To have all those old He-Man comics in one spot. Nicely done job by Dark Horse collecting those, and they did some color corrections and remasters on them to reprint them, and it looks really nice. So if you're a He-Man fan, I was like, I gotta check this out. It's pretty cool and neat stuff. And that's really, comics, man. I've been on a comic kick again. Last week I said I read the Infinity Gauntlet and reading some of this He-Man stuff, and I go through phases like that. So I'm reading some comics, but I did watch WandaVision.
Oh yeah, I watched that too.
My initial thoughts, that was my initial thoughts.
Yeah.
I just, Paul Bettany kind of admitted that he was trolling people about the cameo. Basically, he was talking about working with himself.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, as a fan, I admit I bought into the troll, and I was a little disappointed. Like that, nothing really major happened.
The thing I don't understand, what? So what happened to the White?
I thought we were
Vision?
going to see Doctor Strange.
Well, that's the thing. He gives the White Vision his memories, and okay, there's two things. I guess the White Vision goes away, so they kind of left that open. That Vision is still out there now in the White Vision, so he can reunite with Wanda later. That's one thing. Two, how did Agatha get inside the Hex in the first place? Was that ever explained? I was thinking about that. Like, wait a minute, how is she even here to begin with?
Got to be some kind of magic.
Pietro aside to just
because all the references to.
And then all this stuff with Monica is just her whole storyline was just a ruse to tie in with the post-credit scene from Spider-Man Far From Home. And the fact that Nick Fury's up there with the Skrulls, and the Skrulls tell her, hey, we need you up there. It's like, I don't know. I just felt like, again, I said this about the Spectrum. You only have to watch the first 5 minutes. You only have to watch the last 5 minutes for the show to mean anything. They could have done all 9 episodes in 2 hours and gotten the same point.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either.
Yeah, I do like the Scarlet Witch's outfit now.
Yes, her costume's cool.
It's basically like a nine
version.
Yeah, a 9-episode lead up to a costume reveal, basically.
Yeah.
And and
And
honestly,
mastering her powers.
yeah, and friggin' Joss Whedon, I guess, had something against the headdress for some weird reason, which I think it looks
Yeah.
fine on her. What do you think, Matt? You like that
I
headpiece
thought it
that
looked
Wanda
cool.
wears, just like in the comics?
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
reminded me of Naruto whenever Lady Tsunade activates all her powers and she's got the markings and stuff that appear on her. The headdress kind of appeared in waves whenever she was like unlocking
They're
all of her
probably the only
badass
person in
power.
the world that would
And now
have did
she's
that.
maybe so. Maybe so. I draw a lot of references to random stuff because I'm just so random. But I thought it was awesome, and I thought Doctor Strange was going to be the cameo. I mean, you even had a reference to the Sorcerer Supreme again, and I'm like, okay, we're going to get Doctor Strange. He's going to pop up. He's going to help Wanda kick some ass, or he's going to be like, "Come with me, we've got to talk," or something like that. But we didn't get it. Like you said, it was an underwhelming, surprise at the end, and I guess her kids are really real. I don't know. By the second
Yeah.
ending.
And then
I don't know.
I give Marvel credit for spending money on the show. I mean, it looked movie quality, battles and special effects. Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen were really good in the series. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just a bit underwhelming to end it, considering they hyped it up quite a bit. And I guess we'll see what happens to Wanda a year from now when Doctor Strange comes out.
I'll give it a
Hopefully,
C.
uh, overall, I
Uh,
go a little higher than that. I'll give it a B. I think overall, I think Bettany and
Same
Olsen
here.
sell it enough to give it a little bit higher rating. You know,
The
and
acting is
but
is
I
great.
didn't love it so Marvel. But yeah, overall, we'll see. We got a couple weeks wait now, a little break until Falcon Winter Soldier comes out. I believe it's the 18th of March, right? Yeah, so a couple weeks. So,
Yep.
we'll see. So let's get into today's featured film then. A film from 1978, a all-time classic, many consider one of the best kung fu movies ever made, and that is some audiences know this movie as Master Killer, but its actual title is the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. And Long, since you were in the monk outfit today, you get to summarize this film.
Damn it! I did it last
That's
week.
not that's not very
I
monkish
can
of
do
you.
it.
No,
I,
I summarized True Lies last week.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Fine.
okay.
Okay. A, a tyrannical lord is being oppressive in the province, and a couple of students uh, with our main character's name is Sante, I guess, or Sente, and basically him and a group of students try to do a revolt against the ruling class. Uh, then the revolutionary force gets defeated, and Sante flees from being captured and ends up at a Shaolin temple that specializes in martial arts. And he spends probably years, I think, at this temple. And
Has to
really,
be
like
years.
the next hour or so is nothing. Yeah, well, it's definitely more than a year. Considering, I don't know, who knows? You could be right,
What was
Matt.
that? What was the year?
No, we were saying the whole time he
Well,
was there, how long he was there.
Oh, well, they even
in
say at
the
one time he'd
yeah
been there 25
at the
months.
school.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, so 2 years then. Yeah. But anyhow,
Going
the
through the
whole
different
really
chambers.
half the next, yeah, the whole next hour is him going through training through all the 34 chambers of the Shaolin Monastery. Each chamber that specializes in a certain aspect of um, Shaolin martial arts, and he graduates, and he wants to create the 36th chamber of Shaolin, which is the world, the rest of the world, the outside world. He wants to bring his teaching to the layman. and he gets involved with the previous ruler. A really cool death too by one of the lords who gets hacked to pieces in a way in the
Yeah,
graveyard fight scene. Um, and but yeah, he eventually leads another small revolt in the province and overthrows the ruler with his three-section staff. It was pretty cool but brief fight scene. And yeah, that's my overview of the 36 Chamber of Shaolin.
Well, I'd never seen this before till this week, and having a busy week, I kind of watched it over like two or three nights. Yeah, this movie had trouble holding my interest, and it's not
Yeah,
because of the kung fu. I like martial arts movies. I just I felt like this was played up as one of the greatest martial arts films ever made, and I can't help but think a lot of that has to do with the Wu-Tang Clan making this movie popular. Because
yeah.
I did,
First album.
I don't know how it's considered amongst the great. The great. I'm just like it was okay. I think it's well acted for a kung fu film because sometimes they're not known for their acting, but I thought the actors did a good job of this. It had a good mix of seriousness and humor in it. Um, I did think the choreography was very good, but just the overall story was just kind of like you said. It takes half the movie's just him training. I mean, they literally spend 15 minutes of the movie for him trying to get over water to eat, and
yeah,
it's just like it's. I think that's my problem with the movie is its pacing is so off. They
yeah,
make it seem like he's doing all this training to go back and save the village and get rid of the oppression, and so you're expecting this huge epic fight, and you basically get two short fights at the end of the film. And I'm like, that's
yeah,
it, and then the movie just sort of ends. So for
yeah.
me, it was kind of a letdown. I didn't hate the movie, um, and I'll probably rank it higher than you would suspect I would from talking that. But I'm just like,
Who picked
I
this
don't get,
movie?
I don't get what you did
I did.
technically. Yeah, when we were talking about movies about a month and a half ago, you threw it out there. It was like, hey, we should do a kung fu movie. You said, what about the 36 Chamber of Shaolin?
Really? It was
Yeah.
just like I didn't really
Well, you still
campaign
picked it.
for it.
Just own up, bitch.
Okay. Okay, it was like when I saw the movie on the schedule, I was like, wait a minute, huh?
I mean, it's
Well,
cool.
that's kind of random.
I don't mind that I watched it. I just I
I
guess
don't
the
even
hype
remember campaigning
did not
for it.
live up.
Really?
It did not live up to
Yeah,
the hype of what I was expecting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it's got a huge cult following. It's very popular. It had a sequel made.
yeah,
Like we said, Wu-Tang Clan I think had a lot to do with making this film more popular than it is. It's interesting because I guess when it was originally released in America, the film starts off with a martial arts demonstration through the credits, and I guess the original American release didn't have that, but they added it back in because that's how the film was intended. I guess
yeah.
that's an old traditional thing to do. I suppose there's other martial arts films that have that, where there's a martial arts display at the beginning. Um, but that's just my initial thoughts. Matt, what's yours, man?
At first, I was kind of like, "What the heck's going on at the beginning?" And so I had to watch the beginning again, and I was like, "Okay, they're like trying to sneak messages through fish, and the oppressors find out, and he has to run. They kill them all, and then I thought it was cool that each
Yeah,
chamber,
it does have a
you're not really
cartoon
learning a technique. You're strengthening. Yeah, you're strengthening a part of your body, and I feel like it's very like Miyagi ish to like, but to the you know biggest extent. Like it's not like just a couple techniques. It's 34 chambers. You're doing something different. Like whenever he had to hit the gong to the beat of every wood hit, you know. And I thought the part in the forest was cool with where he quote unquote discovers the three-section staff, and ends up beating, which I thought the guy that he had to fight, the teacher, was, I got this like villain vibe from him, but he's not a villain. I know he's a teacher, but I was
Yeah,
like, is this guy like a villain?
Yeah.
It just kind of gave me that feeling.
yeah,
And he beats him, and I
yeah,
thought it's pretty cool because that's like just how he use the 3-section staff. I was like, kind of
That
threw me off. I
that
was
in
like, man,
itself
use
was a
this.
pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that in
that
itself is a
fight.
pretty cool fight scene. The two fights between him and
Yeah,
And
it's
then
it's an
I
interesting
wondered if,
weapon.
because this film was lost in translation, maybe all the leaders are all named Teacher. And I wonder if that had to do with the overdubs and maybe some of the names didn't translate well to English. So they simply dubbed them all as
Maybe.
Teacher. I would imagine the script they weren't all named Teacher. They probably had names, and I just wonder if that was something that was lost in the dubbing of the film. It's possible, because a lot of these older movies do suffer from that sometimes. And I would have loved to have watched this in its original language with the subtitles, but it was only available on Amazon Prime, as far as I know, in the English
Oh,
dub.
really?
Yeah.
I watched the Netflix version and it's subtitled.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I watched it in subtitles, and they kept calling them Sifu, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for all of the teachers. So that
Oh, okay.
means
Oh,
master.
okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
that is what they did. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, he said Sifu constantly. He didn't call them by name at all. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so the translators were pretty much correct,
Interesting.
thankfully. Yeah, that's weird. I was watching the
And this is
Netflix version. It was
the same actor.
subtitled.
That's funny. I watched the Prime version. The actor who played Santee, he's also in.
Yeah.
Gordon Liu.
He's the Crazy 88 head guy. Yeah, and he was in Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid, actually,
stuff, man.
whenever I saw Gordon Liu in the martial arts movie, it's like, oh, dude, I got to watch this guy. Because Gordon Liu to me was like up there with Bruce Lee, because he's very recognizable as a martial arts star.
Yeah.
And as a kid growing up, they would used to show kung fu movies on local television on Saturdays or Sundays, and it's like, oh, cool, it's that bald-headed guy I know. I see, so
Oh, yeah.
he's in a
Yeah,
lot of Shaw Brothers movies.
Yeah. I mean, I knew who he was. I just had not seen this film,
Yeah.
at least in its entirety. I will give the film a lot of credit for the choreography. I thought it was excellent. A lot of good, especially the scene where he's using the staff and the guy's got the blades, then he's fighting him. And they're kind of going back and forth with each other. I thought that was really well done. All the training scenes the film does, because the choreography is so good, I will give a lot of credit for having a sense of realism to the kung fu and the martial arts in it. And I think they did a good job selling that. Always get a kick out of these old films with all the martial arts special effects, the kapow, kapows, and the slaps and everything. And
Yeah,
because they wanted they and it could be cheesy, but I think you accept it for what it is, because it gives a sense of like you're feeling what these characters go through, with all these slaps and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool. Even all the old Bruce Lee movies did that too. So I'll give it a lot of credit for that. I think the story is what held it back for me the most. It's just like, it was interesting, but not interesting. It just felt dragged out for an hour and 50-minute movie. Yeah, that's just my thoughts.
That's fair. That's fair.
How would you score it?
I'd probably
I'll give it a
B
B.
minus. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I give it a B as well. There are other. It's a good movie, and but yeah.
It's on the 1001 movies list of movies you should see before you die, and I do see its influence. I see why it's popular. I think Wu-Tang helped make it more popular over the years, and it's found a home in streaming and people discovering the film. And I thought it was interesting that it was rated R, because there's a little bit of blood in it, but it's not overly gory film or anything. And there's a couple of language drops in it, which felt a little out of place in this film, because these are supposed to be peaceful kind of monks that use this their form of martial arts to just protect themselves. But yeah, there's like I think they say shit. I think there's an F word in the movie too. I'm like, they
Yeah.
just felt kind of out of place, but it is what it is, I guess, I guess in that era of filmmaking, the late '70s, they had you know, you were starting to get some edgier films, exploitation films and things like that. So I guess martial arts film felt it had to be edgier too, with some language and a little bit of violence. You know, like the training scene where they're using the staff and they're spinning the blades and everything, and there's things underneath them cutting their wrists. I'm like, I would have been done right there. That looked really painful. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna spin this and cut my wrists up. I was like, that looks like it hurts. But
You're
Get
you
stabbed in
don't
the
think hitting
side.
the sandbags with your forehead was?
oh yeah, that would probably hurt too. It took me a second. It took me a second because I'm watching it right, and I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm like, okay, they're trying to get to their food again, and then he's bouncing around like he's all dizzy, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that would hurt your head.
And,
Yeah,
he's like getting a
Uh,
concussion while he's trying to get something to eat.
yeah,
And then when he reaches the end, all these other monks are all groggy and stuff too. So the visual
right.
humor in it. So
Yeah, that's why I said I think
oh,
the film did a good job with some humor too.
yeah, yeah. The with the underling, the underboss of the main lord,
Mhm.
towards the end of the fight, he was like, the monk is trying to fight off all these spearmen, right? And then the underboss is like decides to jump in. Okay, well, so of course he's going to get stabbed by his own men, and then like
yeah,
his men like twirled him on their bladed spears. He flips over by his own men onto the ground, and then the men looked at each other, like, "Oh crap, we killed our own boss," and they all ran off.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So
They're like,
yeah,
oh
I
shit,
would run
the
away
main
too if I
guy's
killed my
dead.
own boss.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah,
But don't let our look at this film as saying that it was a little underwhelming. Keep you from watching. If you're ever interested in martial arts film, I think this is one you should watch, and I think it is worth watching just for the choreography and the influence I think it had on other films. Including some of my favorites. I can see how this movie might have influenced Big Trouble in Little China and other martial arts films today. So I definitely see that. And Gordon Liu is really good in
Crouching
this,
Tiger.
and does a great job in
Yeah,
the role. Yeah. So, but the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, it's on Netflix and Amazon Prime right now. If you want to watch it, check it out. About a B average overall from us. So cool, cool. So that brings us to today's top five. And why not? It makes sense. Our top five martial arts fight scenes in movies. Um, anybody want to go first? You want to volunteer to go first?
I'll go first.
anyone?
Uh, yeah, number five for me. I have the Bruce Lee Chinese Connection dojo fight scene. Some may know it as Fists of Fury. You're
Yeah,
both correct if you name it either way. But it's awesome. It starts. He's fighting the strongest student, and then the next strongest student, and then they're like, you know what, we're all jumping in, and he fights the entire dojo. After they're
yeah.
basically equating Chinese people to dogs, the Japanese.
My number five is the from Kung Fu Hustle, the first big major slum fight between the three masters and the Axe Gang, and it's a very cool scene and very well choreographed, and it's just kind of cool seeing like the bowl staff master doing his thing and the dude with the iron rings, and yeah, number five, Kung Fu Hustle for me.
Good one.
Um, I have an honorable mention before I get to my number five, and my honorable mention is Neo versus all the agents in the Matrix Reloaded when he comes out of the Oracle's house, and they're all waiting for him on the rooftop. Um,
That's a great scene.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's my honorable mention. My list is a lot more modern films. Actually, I have three on this list from two of the same movie, so that's just kind of how I went with it. But at number five, I have in the raid, Mad Dog versus Rama and Andy. The two brothers taking on Mad Dog. when he finds his brother in the room and rescues him. And man, that the whole movie's exhilarating, but that fight alone will have you catching your breath after you watch it as they fight off Mad Dog and to rescue his brother. Just a badass fucking scene from a badass movie. So.
I have to agree with you, Mark. I have that one as number 4. That same scene. It's awesome. It's probably my favorite scene in that movie. The guy's just nuts, and it takes both brothers to take him out. Great scene.
And Mad Dog's absolutely relentless. He just keeps coming at him. Yeah.
My number 4 is Matt's number 5,
Stop.
which is the Chinese Connection dojo fight. Yeah. One of my favorite character moments in that fight was afterwards, where he made the Japanese students eat the paper. It's like eat the paper after he kicked all their butts.
Yes.
It's like and the paper from a banner that was an insult to the school, to Bruce Lee's school, and he made them eat their words literally. But yeah, number 4, the nunchuck scene in that dojo fight was awesome too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's my number 4.
Better than Enter the Dragon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At number 4 for me, I'm sticking with the Raid films. I'm going to the Raid 2 for this one, and it's when Rama takes on Baseball Bat Boy and Hammer Girl. He takes on the brother and sister in the hallway, and just a relentless fight as he's trying to fight off their baseball weapons and her hammer, and he's trying to take them both out, and he ends up killing one of them, which pisses off the other one, and it makes him even madder. And at this point in the film, Rama has already gone through hell, so he's tired as fuck, but somehow he manages to. Well, he's a good guy, so of course he manages to survive. But just a brutally intense scene in the Raid 2, and not even the best fight in the movie, because the best fight in the movie comes up later on my list.
For me, you may shake your head at me and think I have this too low, one of you, but I have the Enter the Dragon ending fight scene with the mirrors at number 3. Whenever he beats the man with interchangeable hands, I forget his actual name.
Han. Yeah.
Han. I was like, I remember Lee because his name is Lee in the movie. He's very simple, but yeah, obviously a big influence.
Sound delay tonight, Matt.
Yeah, Matt definitely has a 1 or 2 second delay.
Yeah, it's weird sound delay.
Yeah.
It's coming down over here, and I know my AT&T service struggles sometimes when it storms.
Oh wow. My number 3 is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the Michelle Yeoh versus Zhang Yi fight, where Michelle Yeoh is like grabbing every weapon she can to try to defeat the Green Destiny sword that Zhang Ziyi is wielding. And it's a fantastic fight scene. It flows and it's impactful at the same time. And you don't very often see women in martial arts movies, but it's a really good scene.
That's a great.
That's my number 3.
That's an overall great movie too.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes
it
doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's honestly one. And Chow Yun Fat's only in the movie briefly, but it's honestly one of the great movies of the last 30 years, and people don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one.
I have The Apartment Raid and The Night Comes for Us. This movie's on Netflix. It's a pretty recent film with Joe Taslim in it, who's playing Sub-Zero in the Mortal Kombat movie. And there's a scene where they're trying to get out of the apartments alive, and the bad guys are just sending waves of people after them, and they're taking them out. A couple of his crew does get clipped during the fight, so he's trying to survive this. And it's as brutal, as intense as some of the scenes in Mad Max Fury Road where the action doesn't stop. This apartment scene takes place for about 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, and that's how long the fight is. And Joe Taslim and his friends are trying to survive this. And it's just like, you almost have to stop and go, wow, is this still going on? That's if you haven't watched The Night Comes for Us on Netflix and you guys are martial arts fans, y'all need to check out that movie. It is brutal and badass.
I'll have to check that out then. Number two for me, I've got IP Man versus the 10 black belts. Whenever the dojo occupier that had a friendly fight with him gets shot after trying to take the rice when he tries to fight two at a time, and he says, "Send them all."
I've never seen those movies.
Oh my God, you have that fight scene is so brutal.
I've literally sat down twice to try to watch It Man, and I get about 10 minutes in and something happens. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's not the movie, so they either get a phone call or something comes up, but I literally have tried to watch it twice. And I eventually I'm going to get around making through the whole thing. I mean, we've all had movies like that where we've tried to sit down and something happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that scene is just it's emotional and it's brutal. Go ahead, Long.
My number 2 is from a Jackie Chan movie, Meals on Wheels, and it's that classic Jackie Chan versus Benny the Jet fight scene in the dining room.
Yes.
It's kind of cliched pick, but it's still one of my favorite one-on-one fight scenes, and that's Jackie Chan versus Benny the Jet in Meals on Wheels.
My number 2 is Han versus Lee in Enter the Dragon, the mirror scene at the end of the film. As a movie fan, it's one of my earliest kung fu movies I ever saw, and always will remember that fight, Lee versus fighting Han at the end of the film with the mirrors. I mean, it's absolutely unforgettable scene, you know.
Number 1. Go ahead, Matt.
Number 1, the ultimate matchup that we wish we could see again, 1972's Way of the Dragon, Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris. It's the best one, man. It's the fight between the arguably two greatest martial artists ever, arguably, in a certain time frame. We want to know who would have actually come out on top, and I think it's a fairly accurate depiction of who would win, given the circumstances.
Only because it was in Bruce's contract that he wasn't allowed to be beat. No, come on now. Let's be real.
Chuck Norris admitted in the anniversary, in the 75th anniversary, or the not 75th, 40th anniversary edition of Enter the Dragon, there's special commentary by Chuck Norris, and he said that he was asked, if there was a real fight between you and Bruce, who would win? And he said Bruce was the best. And it kind of reminded me of Rocky, whenever he tells Adonis Creed that Apollo won that third fight because Apollo was the best. And I was like, maybe it's just one master, one expert, kowtowing to another out of respect. Who knows? But man, that would surely be something to see for sure.
Yeah, my number 1's the same as yours, Matt.
Yes.
So,
me and Long aligned.
Well, mine's not. Mine is the end of the Raid 2 when Rama fights the big bodyguard in the kitchen with the blades at the end of the Raid 2. This one of the greatest fight scenes I've ever seen. I mean, y'all need just look. Have you ever watched the Raid 2 yet, Matt? I know you hadn't watched it yet.
The Raid 2, no. The Raid, yeah.
Delayed. Did you buy the Raid 2 when it was on sale for $5 a couple weeks ago? I told you. I
did
you
not.
To pick it up. But
you did. You sure did.
The kitchen fight at the end of the Raid 2 is absolutely incredible. We're going to have to get around to covering the Raid 2 eventually and bringing Matt Ramirez back on the show to talk the sequel, since he talked the first one with us. But the Raid 2 kitchen fight, that's my number 1 martial arts fight scene of all time for me personally. But all right, well, let's get into some news real quick then. We should have mentioned this last week and we just forgot. But highly influential electronic artist Daft Punk have called it quits after 28 years. Um, they released a short video called an epilogue where they kind of gave each other dabs and walked away, and one of them blew up in classic Daft Punk style. This is a band that, maybe not everyone's style, but can almost guarantee that everyone has heard something they've done if they've ever been to a dance club or a music club. And someone might say, well, why are we discussing this? Because we talk, genre films and stuff. Well, Daft Punk crossed over into films. I mean, they appeared in the Tron Legacy. They did the Tron Legacy soundtrack. Their influence was seen throughout science fiction. They were influenced by science fiction themselves. So I think they're important to cross over into the genre movies as well. And they'll be missed. They had a lot of fans out there, but their music will live on forever. And they gave no
Yeah.
reasons to why they did it. They just, but that's how they were. They have been wearing the mask since 1999 and were hardly photographed at all since then. They didn't do it for the fame; they did it for the art. So I guess they felt it was time for the art. They said enough, and they're moving on.
I've been listening to them because I felt like I didn't know enough. I mean, you named one song that I knew, but I listened to Get Lucky and Harder, Faster, Stronger, and Derezed. I listened to some of the Tron stuff.
Yeah, I like some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, electronic music's not necessarily my thing, but I mean, I respect it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their last album was really good, though. So,
and some
really
people
liked
believe
it.
that because that's the one that won Record of the Year, they won a lot of awards for it, and people think they felt that was the peak. They couldn't top it, So I guess maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Who knows? And so, as everyone knows, COVID has done a number on the movie industry, and it's claimed another victim, as Alamo Drafthouse Theaters have claimed bankruptcy and have filed for it, and they look to be selling their properties to another company. And for us in Texas, this hits home because Alamo Drafthouse was started here in Austin. They were kind of a art house slash retro style movie theater where they showed first run movies, but they did a lot of fun things. They did a lot of vault screenings of films. They would do special events, road shows. They had these really cool trailers and fun pre-show stuff. You could sit down and eat and have a beer and drink good and eat good food. And just were kind of a Texas staple that had branched out in other cities. But COVID has claimed them as they have not been able to stay afloat. And so kind of sad news. I was pretty upset when I heard this the other day because I was like, man, that just really sucks. And it just makes you wonder how much further this is going to go, as things continue on. And hopefully, I think movies will survive, theaters will survive ultimately, but how many will be left, So
Crazy.
I know we all have an Alamo Drafthouse memory, and so kind of disappointing. So Paramount is still trying to figure out what to do with the Star Trek franchise since they can't seem to want to make another film with the Kelvin crew. So they have hired Kalinda Vasquez to write a Star Trek film. I'm not sure what she's known for, but it feels like this is the third or fourth writer they've had in the last year to work on a Star Trek project. So yeah, I know Long, this chap's sure to hide a lot because you're a big Trek fan and you want Paramount to get it right, and you just kind of moan and groan as, oh, there's another shot,
Yeah. Yeah, they don't know what they're doing over there. From what I've heard from people who do the marketing for their films, they're stingy with how to push their movies out to people to get the word out, and it shows. Unless it's Tom Cruise, they won't go all out as far as spending the money to get build hype, for certain movies, and that's why Star Trek Beyond didn't do so well. It's because Paramount didn't spend the money.
Right.
A lot of people didn't even know it came out.
It makes you wonder. I mean, J.J. Abrams finished Rise of Skywalker. He was sitting there for a year. Did they even bother to ask him if he wanted to come back and try to do another one, or at least produce another one? But like you said, they probably didn't because Paramount doesn't want to spend the money or push. And obviously, J.J. Abrams isn't going to work for free or cheap. But I mean,
yeah,
they could at least brought him back because I don't think I mentioned on download this last week, but I did watch Into the Darkness a couple weeks back just because I felt like watching it, and I thought it was pretty good, man. It's not as good as the first Trek Abrams did, but it still was fun. And I'm like, and I would have taken another
Yeah.
Abrams Star Trek, I mean, but unfortunately, Paramount doesn't seem to know what they're doing, so we'll see.
Nope. And Paramount, if you're listening, I hope your streaming service fails because I'm not paying for it.
Well, I want to see the Beavis and Butthead sequel. Can I see that? Can I see that first, please?
Wait a minute, is that like a movie or a TV series?
Yeah, no, they're going to do a Beavis and Butthead Do America sequel
Movie
for Paramount Plus.
Movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike Judge is going to do it. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Lastly, again, another COVID victim. San Diego Comic-Con is not going to happen live this year. It's going to be done streaming at home again, like it was last year. So just that's big news for the industry, man, because that's when they announce a lot of stuff, and this is 2 years in a row. And but it's important to keep people safe, and hopefully by 2022 the masses are vaccinated and we can have nice things again, like San Diego Comic-Con and other big events. It's a bummer, but it is what it is. So, and we'll see.
Yep.
People keep doing what they have to do to make people safe and get things better.
But, we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel now that we have another vaccine in the mix.
Yeah, it's getting there.
It's getting there.
But that's all the news I got. So I guess before we get out of here for this week, let's preview next week's film. This is a movie that Matt, you've actually mentioned this to me a few times. We should cover that film, and I'm all for it, man. It's a good movie. I haven't watched it in a while, and that is the remake, modern version, starring Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, of 3:10 to Yuma.
It's probably cheaper just to let me rob the damn thing.
See which way you rode, Evans?
Like they were headed to Bisbee.
Hands up.
22 robberies, over $400,000 in losses.
Y'all notice he didn't mention any of the lives I've taken.
We will have Ben Wade convicted and hanged, and we will pay to make it happen.
I'll come.
So, boys, where are we headed?
Taking to the 3:10 to Yuma day after tomorrow.
Should have told him that. Relax, friend. Now if we get separated, I know where to meet up.
It's a killer, Daniel.
Then someone ought to have the decency to bring him to justice. I want to come with you.
Well, you can. What are you doing out here, Dan? You got a family to protect.
Don't talk to me like you know me, Wade. We ain't friends. I told you to stay home.
I left home. You turn around right now.
Your boy ain't protecting you. He's following me.
You say one more word, I'll cut you down right here.
I like this side of you, Dan. You're so sure that your crew's coming to get you?
They're lost without him, like a pack of dogs without a master.
Where'd they take him?
I don't know. Let me out of here!
Sure as God's vengeance, they're coming.
Coming this way, I've seen him.
There's gonna be 30, 40 more guns out there now.
Monster, you in there?
Sorry, mister, but I'm not gonna die here today.
It's just you left, Dan. Just you and your boy.
This town's gonna burn!
Call him off.
Why should I?
Because you're not all bad.
Yes, I am.
You just remember that your old man walked Ben Wade to that station when nobody else would.
Directed by Logan's James Mangold, and starring a young badass Ben Foster in this movie as he plays a gunman that's pretty fucking wicked. And so I haven't watched this in a while. I purchased it on Vudu recently when they had it on sale, since I knew we were doing this movie, and so I'm looking forward to watching this again and talking about it next week. It's one of the better modern westerns that they put out in the last 20 years.
Definitely.
It should be fun. I know you've seen it, Matt. You've seen it long too, right? Yeah.
I've never seen it, actually. I own the movie, but I've never taken the time to watch it.
we'll have a fresh watcher then on next week's episode for 310 to you.
Woohoo!
Yes.
So that should be fun. But that's all I've got this week. Thanks everyone for listening as always to the Rebel Radio Podcast, found at therebelradiopodcast.com. Ooh, how about that? And thank you as always for listening. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is Matt. that delay is throwing us off.
I said this is Matt.
And,
this is Long,
sorry.
the Zen Master.
Zen Master. But thank you as always for listening. Be safe out there. And until next week, remember as always, just go there and do it.
Do it.
Do it.